Okay guys, so next step in the Pršut making process, I just pulled the hams out of the press. As you can see here, I just slid them out. I didn't want to keep the unthread all these rods because that was going to take me forever. So I just loosened them up and pulled the Prschuts out from there. You can see I had a stack of weights here that were piled on top of the press to give it a little extra squeeze. I'm glad one of the muscles is actually getting to use the weights, because I can certainly tell you it's not mine. And here we go. So ideal width on the Prschuts is about 3 to 3.5 inches. And you could see here it has been flattened very, very nicely. And now the next step is essentially going to be washing these down, getting the salt off of them, and then hanging them to dry. So you can see they both look real nice. So all right, on to the next step. Okay guys, so here we are, the next step in the Pršut making process. If you recall, when I took these out of the press, the skin was still very light and white because it had stayed moist for so long. So I let them hang for probably about a week and a half, just to kind of dry out a little bit. But you can see how much residual salt we've got on the skin. And a friend of mine who is truly a Pršut master said that that salt needs to get washed off sooner rather than later, because it will make your Pršut too salty. So today what I'm going to do is wash these off, let them air dry for about another half a day, and then they're going down into the basement and into the cure room. It's now like the middle of March, and so we are just starting to see our first flies come out. And I want to make sure to get these things protected and in the basement so flies don't land on them, because flies will lay eggs in the Pršut, and they will eventually turn into little leeches and ruin your Prschuts. So today we're washing them off, and then we're going to hang them for long-term storage. Okay guys, so let's take a quick look at this. I think I'm gonna wash the exposed side first, and then I'll do the skin side, because quite honestly the skin I'm less concerned about. Well, it feels like a little air gap right there, huh? I'm less concerned about the skin getting some sort of an infection. So I've just got some warm water and a clean kitchen rag. We're just gonna give them a good wipe, try to get some of this excess salt. Okay. All right, guys, I think that's about it. You can see it's cleaned up pretty nicely compared to the other one. And now we're just going to hang them for 8 to 12 months and see what they turn out to look like. Maybe next Christmas we'll get these going. Okay guys, so back into the cure room. Prschuts have been washed. You can see they're looking pretty good. I did notice one had a little bit of mold on the bottom of it, which I don't think is a big deal. I just got to monitor it. I want to make sure it doesn't get completely molded over. And you know, the other thing that people will do is cover this area, the exposed area of the Pršut, with grease, essentially lard and pepper, to keep the flies off of it. And I think I'm going to consider doing that only because the cure room, I've got this little humidifier, which I'll be honest with you guys is kind of a, this is great for a very small space. It's undersized for a space this big. And I've got the fan running to keep the humidity flowing and moving around. You can see 69% humidity, 59 degrees. The issue is it's either overly humid in here or under humid, and it's more under humid than over, unfortunately, because the capacity on this thing is about 1 gallon, and it's very difficult to come down here every 2-3 days and fill this thing up because I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I think what I'm going to do is cover the bottom of the Pršut here with mast, with the lard and a little bit of pepper, and then that should slow the drying process here and allow it to continue to dry properly through the skin on the backside. So that's the plan. That's number 2. But for right now, we're just going to continue to try to keep an eye on this, fill it up every couple days, keep the humidity between 65 and 75%. And then, you know, eventually we'll get into these as well. But here, I just want to show you guys, I do have 2 country hams. I went to Tennessee for vacation this summer, and we went to Benton's Country Hams, which if you don't know about Benton's Country Hams, look them up online. They're absolutely fantastic. And I bought an 18-month-old and a 12-month-old, and these have now been sitting for almost a year. So this is about 2 years old now. I'm afraid it might be a little overripe, but what we're going to do is peel this and get to the good meat and then slice it up. So same thing with this one. Okay guys, so that's it for now. I will see you in probably a couple weeks to get the lard on the Pršuts.